Hey, what is up? And welcome to another episode of the TrepTECH Podcast. I am one of two hosts, Scott Doucet, and I am here with the saucy,
the direct, the straight shooting Airial Renault.
We're getting all of our aggressions out today. We're flipping the coin a little bit. We're going to the dark side. Because last episode we talked about drumming up new clients, but what happens when someone just gets on your nerves?
Yeah. So firing old clients or firing clients, which I think is real important. I know on the last episode, I said there was an asterisk at some point. And so I kind of want to expand on that. We talked about it in the first iteration of TrepTECH Podcast years ago. Not all clients are good clients. Not all money is good money. And knowing how to distinguish the clients that you really want to work with that won't stress you the fuck out. A client just recently fired themselves, actually.
Nice.
And which was a big weight off my shoulder because for months, over months, I was thinking about not working with this client anymore, firing them. I'm trying to make sure not to give out too much information.
Fair.
I thought about firing them, but for whatever reason, I didn't.
I'm going to weigh in on this one. Anytime that's been my case is I always hold out hope. Maybe if I do something differently, it'll change the relationship. If I am friendlier or if I provide a different level of service or if I whatever, then they'll cheer up. But some people are just absolutely miserable.
Yeah. And I did go through that. I actually went through a point where I felt like I wasn't good enough. This person pushed me to that.
Nonsense, by the way. How dare you?
But you know what? Us restarting the TrepTECH Podcast, this podcast, it helped feed the confidence again. Because I was like, you know what? I really am the shit when it comes to tech. I do my stuff. I'm just
gonna sit back and take full credit.
Yes, do. Thank you so much. You don't realize how much you helped me. And G-Dubs, my husband, he would get such an earful. He's like, oh, what did that person do this time? But this person was always very condescending. And I always tried to take the upper hand and I wouldn't say any cross words back. But every interaction was condescending. And they would talk to me like, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. When I do this stuff in my sleep, like this is my life, this is what I do. But they would talk to me like they knew it all.
Okay.
And I didn't know anything. Part of me was like, well, if you know it all, well, then fucking do it yourself. If my work isn't good enough, do it your damn self. You're not going to find anybody who offers the services that I offer at the price that I offer them.
I'm going to mop up some of the ugly that just happened. Do it your damn self. Airial only gets to this point. Airial's not an egotistical person. And I can say this with full confidence because listen to the things that I've said to Airial where anyone else would be butthurt as fuck that I've said it. And Airial just shrugs it off and she's like, yeah, well, that's your opinion. And I kind of know myself and I know my product and I'm good. I just want to say that it's not coming from a place of ego. It's coming literally from a place of, well, I know what I'm doing. So if you know better, please get in there and do it better because why am I here? You know?
Yeah. And actually my ego needed to step in this time because usually I'm depressed, low self-esteem. But this time it felt good. I was like, you know what?
Absolutely. Came to your defense a little bit, which is where ego is supposed to be. You know,
I warned you that this is a vent session. However, I am saucy, but not vindictive, not revengeful.
Not today, at least.
But thanks for trying to clear that up, Scott. But it made me revisit over these past months. It made me revisit the tech concierge, put in some improvements because I did look and say, okay, where can I improve? It helped me establish a stronger USP, unique selling proposition. What I was saying earlier is that usually you don't find people that offer this service that I offer. Usually you don't find it in one person. Yeah. Usually you don't find a programmer, like a web programmer and a web designer in the same person. That's unheard of. Usually you don't find an implementer and someone that can help with the strategy. So you get all of that when you work with me and when you work specifically within the tech concierge. And this person was kind of a cheapskate. which did not help.
It's always the cheapest people who are the rudest. I don't understand.
It is the people who pay the least always want to give you
Have the biggest
the
mouths.
biggest headaches. And time again, that has proven true. When I work with people, like I said, I build a relationship with them. I become friends. This person wasn't my friend, so that rubbed me the wrong way. But I was like, I'm providing a service, so it just be cut and dry. But they finally said, don't charge their card anymore. And I was like, okay, fine. And I didn't have to fire the person. So that actually lifted a weight off of my shoulders. Okay, I'm done venting, I think.
Here's a question that I think is super important, and I think it comes down to identifying when a client's not good for you. When you saw communications from this person pop up on your phone, how did you feel in your body? Because I've got a couple of stories that I can relate, but I'm curious about your end before I get to talking. How did seeing this person's name make you feel? How did seeing this person come up through your email with just one more thing they required or whatever?
Oh.
Even if the few times they did say good things, I'm sure it didn't feel as good as someone who is right for you. What were you feeling when this person's name would float across your desk?
Oh, that's a very good question because I would like cringe every time. Oh my goodness, what now? Because it was as if I could never do anything right. And nothing was nice. Everything was condescending. It'd just be like, oh, I'm not going to open this email right now. Oh my gosh, what now? I had to get in a defensive position. Like, okay, put my thick skin on and deal with it. And I don't know why I dealt with it. I really don't. But it was a learning process. It actually gave me flashbacks into a relationship I was in. And anybody who knows us before this iteration of TrepTECH Podcast, I was in a narcissistic, abusive relationship. And that's what this client was like. Like I could never do anything right. They had me questioning if I knew what I was doing. They weren't appreciative at all. That reminded me of that relationship. And I kind of got bogged down into that because I was trying to figure out what's wrong with me. Maybe I'm not good enough. What's wrong with me? But it was something that was necessary because going through that and all the other stuff that went on, like you pumping me up, giving me confidence again, letting me know what I'm good at, reminding me what I'm good at and how to articulate it and everything. And then the positive feedback from all my clients, I realized this is just not good for me.
Do you have a smile file?
Meaning?
It was a concept introduced to me by Jess because, of course, anything named that cute did not come out of my mouth. But a smile file because she makes some big bucks and delivers some really high-end stuff. And no matter what level you're at, you get your shit heaped on you, right?
Yeah.
You start to feel
Yeah.
that. No matter how good at what you do you get those moments and those people. So she has a file on her computer where she opens it and it's literally all of the good positive testimonials and positive interactions and like screenshots of texts and photos with people who came to her events who really said good things about her. And she said like every time she's feeling shitty, she just opens this thing up and it makes her heart sing.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
do.
so
Because, I keep social proof for testimonials and I'll get feedback from clients or they happen to send feedback at the right time that I need it. And then, of course, recording this podcast helps because, like I said, you help me remember why I do, what I do, how good I am at it. And you help me articulate it as well.
I have a really long task list, and if you're not feeling good about yourself, I'll never get anything done. I rely on your kindness.
But have you ever felt that way? How did you deal with it?
For me, I've had a couple of instances where one at the corporate job, I can't really go into huge detail about it, but we had a very negative employee there. And when I spoke to the team about it, they literally said, like, when her name comes up on the phone, I get sick to my stomach.
Wow.
Every day I come in going, what is she going to comment on today? Anytime I ask her something, she belittles me and makes me feel stupid. I feel like I don't belong here because she doesn't like me and she thinks I can't do anything right. I don't, and these are people like they were looking to this person for leadership, and
Mm-hmm.
this person decided to bully and belittle them instead. Now that that person is no longer on the team, the culture at work is huge. People are coming into work singing and dancing and having fun and joking and inviting each other to dinners and get-togethers, and it's all become like a close-knit family because this one negative person has been removed from the equation. And I
You
just
got
want to
rid of the
point out,
toxicity,
right?
which is
And
that's what it is. Getting rid of toxic clients, identifying and getting rid of toxic clients.
there's the title for the episode. Airial, this person, when she said it feels like a weight is lifted off, it's true. The negative impact of a person feels like pressure weighing on you.
Even G Dub was like, oh, good. You know, it was a weight lifted off of him because he didn't have to watch me feel down and he didn't have to hear me rant. Even though he's a very good listener, he was just like, hey, good, you can move on.
Right. When my wife had a job at a place a few years ago, like before we decided to settle down and have kids and stuff, she would work 6 hours, come home and rant for 8. And
Mm-hmm.
that put a lot of stress on our relationship because I literally had to relive her workday with her every night. And I was okay to do it and be her emotional support. But after a long time, that weighed on me. And
Yep.
because it was all we ever did. And she'd be in the bath for like 3 hours, just like literally hating life. So when she left that job and decided to become a stay-at-home mom instead, our days shifted completely. She still rants about her day sometimes if the kids are giving her a hard time, but it takes a grand total like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's how I know she kind of into what she does. Because like, look at your rant. It took you how long? Like maybe 10 minutes to get all that off your chest because you like this world. You're not
Is
going to
that
go.
good or
Yeah,
bad?
it's a good thing because yes, you have to rant, but you're not sitting here living in misery like you were earlier when you were with this client and G Dubs had to sit there and
Right.
be like, yeah, I know. I don't like that this person's treating you this way either. If it were me, I'd already put a stop to this because it's my job to protect you as your person. And this person keeps raking you around and jerking you around and putting you through shit. And I can't do anything but be your emotional support. So why don't you just get rid of them? You know? And so once that person's gone, it takes the toxicity out of your work life. It takes the fear of opening that email. But it also takes the whole venting session that comes at the end of every interaction you guys have. It takes away all that weight and strain and pressure and stress, right? So it's
Because
nice.
I would vent for hours and it would carry on into the next day.
For an interaction that
Like,
took minutes.
yes. So it was really bad. It was
Yeah.
really bad. And now, yeah, that 10-minute rant, was it really 10 minutes? I don't even think it was that
I
long.
don't even think it was that
It
long.
actually wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, which is good.
You're not as negative about it anymore because they're gone, right?
Exactly. Exactly. But it was a learning process.
Yeah.
And the thing is, as soon as she left, I had a new client sign up.
Beautiful. And that's the thing is it makes room for new people when old people leave,
Yep.
right? That's the whole point I'm getting at is like how to identify a client. It's how they make you feel. I've been referred to people where in the past, and Airial was around during the very, very like early days of Podcast Bay, where there was this one particular lady who danced around as a boss bitch. And that was her whole identity is she's a boss ass bitch and she's a bitch. She's a boss. She's a bitch. She's a bitchy boss. She's a boss bitch. You know? And she was burning through editors like crazy, podcast editors.
Mm.
I was hungry for money back then. I was just getting started and I needed all the clients I could get. And this person had just screwed over someone that Airial and I knew quite well. And he was telling us about it. And then her name came across my desk as a referral. And our mutual friend said, like, go ahead and you can try. Like, she's tough to work with, but if anyone can, it's you. And that's what the guy who referred me said too. He said, like, listen, this girl is a lot, but if anyone can handle it, it's you. And I shot her an email and basically like, cause when I opened up the email, I was already like, I was tense. I could feel the tension. I was like, and this is in my
Yeah.
physical form, right? You got to pay attention to
Yeah.
what you feel in your body. Like Dave would be proud. I'm in my body and I'm opening this email and I'm ready to like literally come at her. And I'm like, do I want a relationship with a client where I feel like I have to attack you right away? Is that what I need? No, that's not what I need. So I said, listen, you have a reputation of being a boss ass bitch. And with that comes a lot of disrespect to the people who are subservient to you. So I am going to decline working with you. And I hope you the best of luck. I'm not going to refer you to anyone, but I hope you find someone. Have a good day.
And you know what? G Dub, with this one particular person, G Dub wondered, does the person have, it's kind of like, racist towards me. G Dub said maybe they have a problem with colors, message that I sent him and everything. I was like, you know what? I wonder if that is part of it.
It could be.
Or looking down on me because I'm Black and this person was white. And
there could be a lot of reasons.
And I usually don't feel like that, but with this one, it rubbed me the wrong way from the beginning. I don't know why I did that to myself.
It could be about the money. It could be about like, if I put on just my best self, this person and I will get along.
Yeah.
But you have to ask yourself, like, do you even want to, right? And in the case of me serving this lady, I didn't want to just because of how I felt. But then I've gone on to have other clients that were sweet, amazing, made me feel good. But there was one lady who she required a very specific set of specifications that used to stress me out. She wanted a very specific product, and I knew that I could do better than that. And I knew that with a little bit of creative freedom, because again, I'm in a creative space, with a little bit of creative freedom and just being able to have some control over the product, I could do a better job, but I wasn't allowed. So every time I opened this particular person's work, I would feel like I was handcuffed to deliver the exact specifications. Like basically I was a slave to their SOP.
Right.
And I was like, I don't like this. This sucked the joy out of my life. This sucked the Pharrell Williams out of production. Like I'm literally just sitting here as a button monkey. And I don't like that. I like being able to listen to a show and like get into it, like from the intro music to the cadence of everyone's voice to like, this is what I want to do. I don't want to edit. I want to produce. I want to create something that I'm really fucking proud of, because I know things you've never even heard of. And then this person comes in and they're like, this is what we want. This is all we want. Don't do anything more than this. And I'm like, shit, way to snuff out my light there. That was a wrong client for me. I had one lady who was just really powerful. Like an extremely powerful person. And every time I opened their email, even though a lot of the times it was them late on stuff or them expecting kind of unrealistic turnarounds for things because they're last minute, or saying they're going to batch a bunch of stuff and didn't batch a bunch of stuff, which, hey, that's your business. I was always afraid that this person would find a way to pin it on me. And it sucks because that person was very sweet, but also that person had a very good knowledge of business and law. And so if that person wanted to, they could end my entire life, and they had that kind of power. And so I was always very, very cautious, and probably didn't have to be, admittedly, but I was always very cautious of how I approached the relationship, because I was like, okay, this person is not holding up their end, but how willing to hear that are they?
Yeah.
So I felt like a lot of the times I had to tiptoe and walk on eggshells there, just because of the power dynamic of the relationship. And there are times I felt I was called a nag by a client once that made me feel quite small and useless. She had a lot of fun kind of belittling people. I've had guys.
You a nag?
Yeah.
What?
I've had guys who are complete audio snobs tell me that I don't know what I'm doing, and then go to producers who are actually a lot worse than me. And so like you kind of get these people who just, they need to say something negative, and basically if it doesn't make you feel good, because I've been with clients like Jess has no problem telling me when I fuck up.
Yeah.
Okay. She once sent me an email, and it was the prettiest email I've ever gotten. She's in diversity and inclusion, so she's really good at wording things. But it literally said, "Hey Scott, I think you and I have a different idea of what painting finished looks like. Can you email me?" And I went, "Oh, okay, that is so cute to say that I did not hit standard. Let's do this." So I emailed it back, and I was like, "Hi, okay, things aren't up to code, up to standard. Let's chat about it, right?" But the way she approached it was very kind, very respectful, very like, "Hey, I don't," and she wasn't tiptoeing around my sensitivities necessarily, because I've always said I'm very feedback friendly. But she had such a respectful way of wording things. Jess too. Jess will be like, "Hey, love, Just wanted to let you know that the episode isn't out today, or the episode didn't come out on time. Can you give me a breakdown of what happened?
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me go back and see where systems failed. Let me go back and talk to who was responsible.
And that makes you better.
Right. But if someone went, holy fuck, what are you guys doing over there? Like, why isn't my episode out on time? You put every episode before this out on time, and this is the one time it didn't come out and could have been a tech issue, but we're going to blame you anyway and make you feel like shit. Right. You always get, and that's when you know the person's not right. When they're coming at you and like literally attacking you and your character and your person and making you feel physical reactions, sick, low, scared. Again, like I've opened
in pain.
Yeah, I've seen someone's name and been like, I'm getting sued. I'm getting sued, fuck. But I'm not ever. It's just I see
that's
that
why I keep records of everything. Any interactions, emails, text messages, Voxer, anything. Whenever I deal with a client or anybody in my life, I think, will this meet Judge Judy's standards? If I had to go on Judge Judy to prove my case, will this meet her standards? And I mean, I have a paper trail, because it's like people will badmouth you.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when somebody badmouthed you and I was like, don't even worry about it. I got this. Yeah.
And again, like that's it. Those people were in that community and they had an issue with me specifically because I was making money at something they had done for a very long time without profiting in it.
And you know what? G-Dub said that about this person with me. Maybe they're jealous because I'm actually doing what I set out to do and successful at it. And this person still hasn't really made any money.
That's what happens, right? And then they get resentful when they have to pay you to set things up for them, because they're like, well, and they don't realize you had to pay someone too. You paid
exactly.
You paid me for years to get shit set up for you. That's how it works, is you pay someone who can do the things you can't, and you can't resent them because they're making money off of you.
Exactly.
You go on to do what you do, which is your craft, and make money at it so you can pay your team. Don't be an asshole.
Yeah. And what I charge is like nothing. I mean, it's really
it's
nothing.
Something, but it's nothing. Like, for what you get.
I mean, and then the way she talked about the team, it just, oh my gosh, it really hurt. I would feel heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I would avoid answering emails. I would avoid conversations. If we had a call schedule for days before the call, I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to talk to this person. I wouldn't do anything else that day because I knew that it would take a lot of energy.
The drain, yeah.
Yeah.
And that turned you into less of a professional. You couldn't be your best professional self. And then that reinforces the negative they feel about you too, because they're on the other end of this going, why isn't she getting back to me? What's going on here? And further perpetuating the negative feelings they have about you. So you're kind of making the prophecy they feel about you true. And so that's why it's important to cut these things off. It's so important.
What I did, I wasn't overly exuberant in getting back to the person. That's when I fell back to my SOP. I only work between these times on these days. I don't work weekends. Other people who I really like, I'll jump through hoops. I'll work weekends, I'll work different hours or whatever. But with this person, I was like, you know what I have in writing? I'm going back to that, because you're being an ass.
You must really like me. I am an ass, and you still really like me, because you will hit me up at like midnight my time on a Sunday being like, is your Amazon cart set up? Or and I'm like, no. Why would that be set up? You're like, we should do that. We should do that today. And I'm like, okay, all right, you're the boss. Let's do this. Like, and that's the thing, is you reach out to me at those times and I'm like, holy shit, this girl is on the ball and she is so professional and she cares so much about my success that she's like, it's 10 p.m. hers and my Amazon cart is on her mind. If I was a nightmare to work with, that's not what you'd be thinking about at 10
no, but I wouldn't even collaborate with you. I would not collaborate with you.
No. And that's kind of huge.
Oh, the last thing in that email that this person said was, Airial, I'm disappointed. I actually had a larger role planned for you. I told GW that. GW was like, she's just trying to get under your skin. And I'm like, yeah, a larger role. And I was like, so, I went on my rant with my husband. I was like, larger role, you can't afford me. You're too cheap to afford a larger role. Plus, I don't take on just anybody in a larger role. I have to like you. And your business has to be somewhat form promising, whatever. I have to believe in your business and your mission and your message in order to take you on as a larger client. She made it sound like I was going to sit there and cry because, oh my gosh, she's not taking me on a larger role. I don't want it. It's
But
not
again,
worth it.
going back
And
to
I
this,
know you're not going to pay it.
yeah, going back to this person on my corporate team, like this person would tell people like, "Oh man, you're so important. You're so important. Like I need you here. I can't have you resign or go. You're one of the people I rely on." Putting all this pressure on someone who was ready to exit the company to stay. Oh, I've got plans for you. I've got this for you. I've got that for you. You'll notice that these people scheme, but they don't ever ask you what you want.
Mm-hmm.
They've got plans, they've got ideals, they've got strategies, they've got tactics, they've got all this, and you fit here, 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 and here. But they never stop and go, hey, what do you want to be doing for me? What is it you like to
Exactly.
do? Right? What is it that excites you? What kind of role do you want to take on in this? Or are you busy with your own life, buying a house and getting settled and all this, and you don't want a huge role? What is it that you can provide me instead of here's where I see you? Right?
Yeah,
Anyone who's making plans for you without your permission doesn't have your best interest at heart.
exactly. I wonder what kind of role this person thought they were going to put me in. What? Like what? As your business manager? I wouldn't even want
So
to do that for
no,
that
because you'd have to
person.
drag them kicking and screaming. You'd be fighting with them all the time.
Man, business manager, which I'm equipped and certified to do, and I love doing for the right business, it's very involved. I'm like your right hand woman. I'm in every depth of your business. You could step away and I could run it for you. That's a lot of trust, a lot of communication, a lot of strategizing. I definitely wouldn't do it with this person. Always condescending. They wouldn't listen to anything I had to say. I read different strategies and tactics all the time, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning when I can't sleep. That's what I'm researching and stuff to help my clients out. And she just wouldn't listen to anything.
No.
It's kind of like how you said handcuffed.
Yep.
I was like handcuffed because I couldn't let creativity come out. I couldn't let my team have their creative moments. It was just, I wanted this way and this way and this way. And it's like, well, you know what? That doesn't even matter. Let's get it done. Let's get it out. Like a shade of purple. And I mean, this is not a person that has like an established brand like Coca-Cola or anything. I mean, it was a shade of purple and it was in the wrong place versus further down the sales page and stuff. And I'm like thinking to myself, that doesn't matter. Let's get it done so we can get it launched and we can fix it in the background. And they still haven't launched because it's always nitpicking, nitpicking, nitpicking. And it's like, what you're focusing on doesn't matter. Yes, there's a thing called color psychology for your buttons and different things like that. But this was just like, oh my God, they were doing the most.
Hexcode.com. Let's go. Get the fuck out of here with that. It drives me nuts, man. Like, I'm sorry, but anyone who wants to sit there and split hairs over, is it like in audio, okay? Do we want 1% or 2%? What sounds better, 1% or 2%? Like, now play it back again. 1%, 2%, 1.5. Let's fucking go. Like,
Right.
like,
Get it out there.
it would be one thing if this were like if I were producing an orchestra and I had like 70 plus instruments that had to be layered perfectly and timed perfectly to the conductor and to a metronome, and so that everything is just good. but your fucking spoken word podcast where you're selling something to people and literally people have recorded them in a fucking tin can phone held up to someone else's ear in their car, get the fuck over yourself. Let's go.
Exactly.
And this is someone whose whole life is producing top tier audio, telling you to shit or get off the pot, get a move on, let's go.
Exactly.
It drives me nuts to see when someone is not willing. And here's the thing, you need to find someone who both respects what you can do.
Yes.
And respects what you know.
Yes.
Because if they only respect what you can do and not what you know, they're uncoachable.
This person didn't respect either one for me.
If they don't respect what you know, if they only respect what you know but not what you can do, they'll never pay you properly to do it. So that's what you're saying, is this person was not coachable and didn't pay you. So she didn't respect either thing. And this is before we even get into race, class, personality types, et cetera, et cetera. What you do and what you know aren't even valuable right now. So none of the rest even matters. Right?
Yeah.
Your brain is not being valued. Fuck what your skin looks like. Fuck what your wallet looks like. Fuck what like your brain is not being honored properly. And that's the base of who you are. Your heart's not being honored properly. Your gut's not being honored properly. Meanwhile, this person is causing you all kinds of reactions in your brain, heart, and gut. Like,
yeah. Exactly.
Question, we should probably wrap this up. How do you go about firing someone when they don't take themselves to the curb? How do you go about just isolating that person, being like, hey, this isn't working out?
Well, I've actually been pretty good at only working with people who I like to work with. This one was an anomaly. The last time I severed ties with someone, and I really enjoyed working with the person, but everything was last minute. And so when I needed a break, it wasn't understood. They weren't that understanding because I had gotten to burnout. I finally said, the role that I'm in, it's actually a higher level than what I'm operating in currently, the title of the role or whatever. And for what you want me to do, this is how much it'll cost. This is how much the investment is monthly. And they didn't want to pay that. I remember I was going to work another month, but then I thought about the cost or the investment that they were giving me. And then the cost of I would literally be in pain, like full body of pain. The cost of working with them for me. And I finally sent them an email and I was like, I can't do it anymore. Thank you for the opportunity. Yada, yada, yada. I can't do it anymore. So you have to really have a come to Jesus moment with yourself. Figure out why you have been accepting this abuse, why you've been hanging on, weigh the cost. Just send out a professional email to say, we're not on the same page, we're not working, XYZ.
Yeah. Personally, I like to get people on a call. For me, I think all breakups should happen with an element of person there. And for some people, it's not worth it. Like, I know my wife, she does not think that someone who's given her a hard time is worth that kind of access to you in that moment. But for me, I've always been like, if I'm going to close the door, I really want you to hear the tone of my voice when I close it. So
I can do that in writing, though.
Yeah. So I'll get on the phone. I'll tell people like, hey, how you doing? All right. Like, this is what I wanted to talk to you about today. The professional relationship we have is not working out. The scope of work that we initially agreed to has grown over time, or that you are not providing me with the materials I need before deadline to pull off the scope of work we've agreed upon. And therefore, the scope of work I'm able to deliver is less than I would feel comfortable delivering. So you can either give me more time, or if you're going to be last minute, drop the scope of work. However, there's also all of these other issues that are happening. You know, you're causing, through your insensitive and very clunkily worded communications, you're doing a lot of things where you're calling me this, you're that. And I'll point out like things. On April 4th, you called me a nag, and all I was doing was asking you for an ETA on the materials you told me you were going to get to me. And I feel like that was an emotional response to a business communication, and that to me was very unprofessional. Or You keep sending me purple hearts in all of our communications. And I don't mean to be a stickler, but this is a professional environment, and I don't want my wife to see a girl sending me purple heart at the end of everything that we do. Occasionally, like something, if I pull something off that's amazing, sure, throw a heart in there because I'm human, but don't be sending me purple hearts with every single message. I feel like that's just not reflective of how I want to operate in business. And I'll just let them know, like, these are the things that I've been having an issue with. Now we can either work together to correct this and come up with an action plan, or we can terminate the relationship here, refund for any work not done, because people do pay me prorated. So they'll pay me
Mhm.
first and then I do the work. So if it's not done, I'll refund them because yes, you should be refunded, but that also stops any legal action from being taken typically, where they're like, oh, he owes me money. He doesn't want to work with me and I paid him. Like, no, absolutely not. Have your money back. I have no problem releasing the money to close this contract. Have a wonderful life. Hope you find someone who's more comfortable with the way you carry on, but it is not me. I like to get on the phone and just rectify things that way so they understand that I'm not, because I'm calm. You know, I come across like, hey, this is how I want to run things. This is how things are not being run. So either we can or we can't. And I'm okay with both. What would you like to do? And if they're a person who, like you said, is narcissistic, they will typically fly off the handle a little bit and be like, what do you mean? And act like they've done nothing wrong, even though you've clearly mapped it out for them.
Mhm.
Then they will then terminate the relationship. So again, they'll take themselves out. I just prompted it. I didn't have to say, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I've left it up to them, and their behavior tells me everything I need to know. Or the other scenarios, they're like, oh, okay, I can definitely work harder on all of this stuff. Now, granted, usually it's part of who they are and they never get better at it. So then they reach out to me and they're like, hey, yeah, I'm doing that thing again. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. This is not going to work. And then I do have to terminate there. I am all for second chances if the person earnestly and honestly wants to change. So that's the way I do it, is I kind of leave it open for them a bit.
Ah, good points. Good points.
Yeah.
So, do you think there are any other takeaways that we should share for our listeners about getting rid of toxic clients and just toxicity in your business altogether? I know one good point is to make sure you know your values and
Yeah.
weigh everything against your values.
Yeah, that's huge because if it doesn't align with your values, it's not going to align with you. But for me, it's pay attention to how you feel and don't lie to yourself. Nothing you can do is going to change that relationship really unless that person's willing to change too. So if they make you feel crummy, get out of it because you're just going to keep feeling crummy. And
Yeah.
that's pretty much all I have on it.
And also, it's like we accept more when we're taking desperate measures, when we're in that mode of desperation. We're willing to drop the bar and accept more. Don't do that. Put
Absolutely.
yourself in a position where you're not desperate, and that energy will change. Yes, some may slip through the gaps. I look at everything as a learning opportunity. And that's what this was. This was a growth and learning opportunity for me. And now I'm able to share with the client. I share with the rest of my clients, my other clients, and share with the listeners here. Thank y'all for listening to my rant. I hope it wasn't too ratchet. Um, hopefully you got some good takeaways from this. And thank you, Scott, for calming me down. Thank you for being there. Thank you for helping boost my confidence when I needed the most, even though you may not have known that's what you were doing. And that's all I have.
And I just have to have a special shout out and honorable mention to the great, the wonderful, the powerful, the patient G Dubs for having to sit through probably way too many rants. God bless you, sir.
Love you, babe.
All right. And that is it for me. So if you are enjoying listening, feel free to give us some feedback, get in touch with us on social media, or join Airial's email list. Check out the show notes for all of our good stuff. Take care. Much love, everybody.
And definitely, I know Scott is waiting for the deuces, but definitely let us know how you've dealt with toxic clients, how you avoid toxic clients in the first place. We encourage feedback and communication. Let us know what you think, what you've experienced, so we can all learn. Deuces.